But let me ask you, I think two of the most newsworthy kind of moments of 2023 for you was your announcement pretty much a year ago today of you going into retirement and getting signed to the WWE as a writer. And then 9 months later, coming out of retirement. I think you made a surprise appearance at Pro Wrestling Chaos on the 11th of November, didn't you? And the place absolutely erupted. I think that actually got moment of the year as far as the Pro Wrestling Chaos fans were concerned. And then a couple of weeks later, we saw you in the ballroom at Progress. You cut that fantastic promo saying that you were not only back, but you were entering yourself into Super Strong Style 16 for this year. But give us a bit of insight, Eddie, into all reasons and decisions into retiring. Essentially, a year ago, you would have been about 15 years into your career, and then that kind of fateful announcement.
Yeah, so I think that I always kind of assumed that it would be pretty well understood, but then from messages that I get every now and again, I think that maybe it isn't. So it's great to be on a forum to be able to kind of like address it and explain it. Obviously, me and a lot of my colleagues got released by the WWE in the summer of 2022 when NXT UK closed its doors. So I was back full-time independent wrestler from that point on, and just really had the bit between my teeth to like try and really make a go of it on the independents. Myself and the Wild Boar went out to Canada in November of 2022, sort of like all guns blazing. But around that time as well, the WWE had reached out and asked if I would be interested in a writing position. So I kind of had an idea in my head about the sort of money that they would have needed to have offered for me to have been happy to step away from wrestling. It's not really like a sort of like rules thing. It's more just about it's not logistically possible to be an independent wrestler whilst you're also writing for the WWE. Writing for the WWE is a full time job, and you just don't have the headspace to be trying to do something of your own independently on the side. When they did offer me the position in February of last year, it was kind of a no-brainer for me and my wife for me to sort of like take the plunge and have a go at it, which did mean stopping independent wrestling. I didn't really have any intention of doing a retirement. I kind of planned on just stopping taking bookings. And then I spoke to Andy Quildan, who is the promoter for Revolution Pro Wrestling. For those who know, I had a couple of dates with him lined up after when I'd signed with WWE as a writer. So I asked the WWE if I could honor those bookings with him because I was like in the middle of a story with Michael Oku and Connor Mills, two guys who I had a little bit of a hand in training. And I really wanted to see that story through, albeit we would have to do like a truncated version to get me out the other end. So me and Andy, kind of a lot of Andy really, crafted the story going into the Revolution Rumble last year. We decided that I would say that I didn't really even know until I cut the promo in the 229 after losing to Michael whether I would say that I'm leaving Revolution Pro if I lose, or if I was going to say I'm leaving wrestling altogether if I lose. Like I didn't know going into the match with Michael what I was going to say after the match with Michael. I decided to say that I was leaving wrestling altogether. And then again, we spoke about doing at the end of the Rumble, whether Andy was super gracious, always has been, and was like, "Do you want to do something at the end of it?" And I was like, "I don't think so. I think I'll just like scoot off into the background. Like it's Michael's moment, winning the Rumble." And then I don't know, a bunch of that day, like Mark came from Wales, Hitch came from Wales, Gav came down from the Midlands. Um, Tate, he probably won't like me bringing this up, but he came across to watch and stuff. That my wife was there, my wife's parents were there, um, and I just thought that I should do something. So I decided to leave my boots in the ring, and then I'd kind of retired. And all that being said, in my heart of hearts, in that moment, I was pretty sure that I was never going to wrestle again because I'm 37 now. I wasn't sure whether the writing thing was going to work out. You never know when you're going into sort of
Yeah.
a different position. But I just thought to myself that I would at least sort of like do it for a couple of years, and then if it didn't work out, I'd be at an age where I wouldn't really want to return to independent wrestling. I would probably look to get back into teaching or something. But as it goes, 9 months later, I'd sort of changed my mind, much to my wife's chagrin. And once it transpired that the writing wasn't for me, there was no question in my heart whether I wanted to return to do this. So yeah, I'm lucky that people welcomed me with open arms. I think there might be a couple of cynical people being like, "Didn't you retire 9 months ago?" Yeah, I did. Whatever. People do it all the time.
But this is the wrestling business, Eddie, isn't it? You know, a wrestler never stays retired fully, do they? I mean, how many times did Mick Foley retire, for crying out loud?
Yeah, exactly. Just as famous.